Backstory Munchen once again takes the spotlight, however this time, I at least think the author is going to try and keep this unpredictable. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Animasu, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Blue Lock chapter 264 leaks, titled Borderline. If you enjoy the content I push out, or just like to stay updated with your favorite manga, please feel free to click that subscribe button, comment below your thoughts, and also check out my community Discord down in the description. Without further ado, I hope you all have an amazing day, and let's get right into another depressing backstory. I mean, why? As usual, we have intro text which starts off saying, "This calm player is quietly lurking, patiently seeking an opening between the boundary lines." The first person we see here is actually KIYORA JIN, who is indeed lurking within the shadows, just like we saw him doing at the end of last week's chapter. The narrator is actually immediately taking over this first page, explaining that KIYORA JIN was always destined to stand on the borderline, no matter the occasion. The first instance of this came when he was still a baby in his mother's womb, as this scene shows her being rushed into the emergency room. With an EKG shown with his heart rate, his mother apparently suffered from some serious illness which resulted in complications during the pregnancy, giving either her or KIYORA only a 50% chance to live during birth. I believe this does refer to KIYORA JIN because the narrator goes on to explain that he ended up drawing the lucky card of life and was born into this world as a strong baby boy. As we then see him in the next page standing alongside his family, KIYORA JIN seems to be a middle child between two other brothers. With one rowdy younger brother and a short-tempered older one, KIYORA's house was constantly filled with arguments and fights, just as all siblings calls like the loud house. Growing up in this environment is yet another instance of KIYORA teetering on the borderline because he was always contemplating, weighing the options on which brother's side would be more beneficial to take. I personally didn't have the most normal relationship with my siblings, but I would often get jumped by my sisters when waking them up in the morning. Feel free to share any funny stories you might have with your siblings, so hopefully I can laugh at those and have some humor to my day, rather than depressing backstory lock. Anyways, KIYORA realized that whichever side he allied with would more than likely win, so in the end, it was his presence that determined the victor. His entire fighting spirit and way of life was formed around this thought process, and even moving into the Blue Lock program, KIYORA relied on that nature to make it this far. This destiny of KIYORA is once again struck though, because by not being in the top 23 and this being their final Neo Egoist League match, he's now left to choose between Kaiser or isagi yoichi. One of these players can help boost KIYORA JIN up into the top 23, and at this very moment, you see him contemplating on who's the true best option to keep him afloat. The perspective then actually changes right over to one of the two strikers, isagi yoichi, who's sprinting upfield while analyzing their current situation. The field of play is currently revolving around Isagi without a doubt, as both of his allies and opponents are playing based on his every step. Kaiser, however, seems to be now taking advantage of this, because with all eyes on Isagi, his rival, he's now decided to aim for the goal without just using Alexis Ness. This awakened Kaiser is aware of the fact that people like Ryusei will not turn down free value boost, so by passing to Blue Lock members while also staying low-key, the former Emperor is making an attempt to change and grow. Isagi, rather than being faced, actually seems excited with Kaiser's challenge, because now more than ever, the Emperor's career is on the line. If Isagi scores here, then Kaiser's evaluation will plummet even worse than before, meaning that this here is the borderline of Kaiser's awakening, or Isagi's absolute takeover of Bastion Munich. As we then see Isagi make a pass with his metavision over to Corona, Tokimitsu can be seen sprinting alongside his right while tweaking off of a perk like usual. He's once again nervously yapping about how he won't let Corona and Isagi combo attack again. However, against all odds, our short king Corona here tees up and manages to maintain possession against this literal refrigerator of a person. He even calls him a meathead in the process, making it even cooler. But sadly, amidst the chaos of the duel, PXG's Nanase was able to stealthily press in and swoop the ball into his possession. Tokimitsu yells out in anger at Nanase for stealing his potential value and thunder. But fear not, poor child. Kaiser is here to save the day. Flying in through the air while staring Nanase dead in his eyes, the Kaiser has managed to swoop in himself and steal away possession, just in a far swaggier way than Nanase could ever imagine. Analyzing this from afar, Isagi makes the realization that rather than directly targeting his rival, Kaiser is now choosing to aim for the flaws and links between Yoichi and his allies. Glancing over in the direction of Michael to see him staring back with metavision eyes, Isagi seems to be confident that his next victim will be Kunigami Rinsuke. Isagi is correct in this assumption, because as Kaiser approaches the defender Shappa, you see him then pass the ball to his right over to Kunigami Rinsuke. With Kuni being too busy holding back shidou ryusei, he allows himself to be used as an anchor, passing back the ball to Kaiser, who is now sprinted far past the defender Shappa. Although reading the field perfectly himself, Isagi is glazing the hell out of Michael's thought process and clever moves there. Knowing that Kunigami was burdened while holding back Shidou, Michael was able to force a 1-2 with the orange in order to safely pass through the defense. All of these traits, like manipulating others' psychology, abandoning everything for change, accurately gauging the field and situation of a team, they all align with the type of egoist Isagi Yoichi is, making them officially both world-type strikers. We then get a little chart here while Isagi is narrating, which shows Kaiser, Isagi, Hiyori, Reo, Kurisu, and Aiku and Nico all as world-type egoist, and Shidou, Bachira, Nagi, Kunigami, and Shigeri is all individualistic ego types. Anyways, back to the action. Kaiser seems to be in a lot of trouble here, as both Kurisu and itoshi Rin are sprinting right towards him at his front. Michael tries to lunge forward over these two, but it being a 2-on-1, Kurisu manages to deflect the ball straight up with his foot, although Rin seems to miss his step-in by about a whole 5 feet. It all works out for Bayern Munich though, because the loose ball ends up landing right into the grasp of Hiyori, who's gladly thanking his lucky stars. He begins to pull back for a pass as we see Isagi sprinting into position, with both Nanase and Tokimitsu desperately sprinting in to defend as well. With the pass then being made, Isagi actually sidesteps in the face of another defender and continues running forward, letting the ball just continue on its course. This goes all according to plan, because it continues moving right towards its true target, Corona Ranze. Leaping through the air while holding back Nanase, Corona manages to finish off their 3-way chemical reaction by sending the final pass towards Isagi Yoichi. You see the ball bouncing directly towards the front and center of Isagi, however with someone just to his left, he seemed to overlook just one important player with his metavision. Charles Chevalier is now back and more hyped up than ever as we see him flying through the air to deny Isagi a flawless second goal. Everyone is obviously surprised by this, as we just assumed Charles was straight up quitting mid-match, and to make it worse, he goes on to taunt Isagi, asking if he's annoyed by this outcome. With the ball flying through the air to then land back down, Bayern Munich fans can once again breathe a sigh of relief, as Alexis Ness is who is awaiting the loose ball. With his eyes glowing with aura and even a magic circle at his feet, Ness seems more confident than ever while assuring Kaiser that he is here. Pulling up like All Might and declaring that it's not over, Ness has caused a confused and worried look on everyone's face. Everyone except for KIYORA JIN, we can still see looking perfectly calm here in the very last page. With that being the last bit of text, we still have the outro text which states, "The ball that rolled in from the chaos falls directly under the loyal dog, Alexis Ness. The loyalty that desires his Emperor Michael Kaiser is unwavering as always." It seems like Ness still wants to assist Kaiser rather than breaking off on his own or helping Isagi, which does very much surprise me. I figured after all the verbal abuse he would finally hit the road, but let me know what you all think. With that being the last bit from today's chapter, all that we're left with until next week is chapter 265's title, being Beyond Restrictions. I think this might refer to Alexis Ness breaking free of his restrictions alongside Kaiser, but maybe this could result in him assisting either Isagi for a brace, or maybe even KIYORA JIN for a super crazy solo goal that benefits both of them. Would you guys be more excited or disappointed if KIYORA JIN ends up scoring a goal here? Because it seems like a lot of people expect him to play the assisting role. Also, will Kaiser end up awakening to maintain his glory, or do you think Isagi will fully take over BM and plunge him into despair? With that being the end of today's leaks, I just want to thank you all so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed the video and would like to support my channel, please feel free to click that subscribe button, comment below your thoughts, and check out my community Discord down below if you'd like to interact. I'll see you all in the next video very soon, so please have an amazing day or night, whatever it is for you.